Hello, universe. This is Podcast Chaos. I am Eternal Studios 1. This is Innate 23 and Ice Snipe. Today we are introducing ourselves and running our first episode in full. As stated before, I'm Eternal Studios 1. I run a small channel with 2,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. I make edits, remixes, and tutorials, as well as the like. Now on to you, Nate.
Hello everyone, my name is NA23, but you can call me Nate. I do have a small channel, but I stopped uploading videos due to life responsibilities. However, I am a nerdy gamer at heart. Last but not least, we have Ice Snipe.
Hello guys, what is up? My name is Ice Snipe, and this is Podcast Chaos. I run a small gaming channel, and I post Rust, Soma, and Call of Duty. Feel free to check it out. Take it away, Eternal.
We have so far on this podcast 3 segments: Lore Deep Dive, Into the Unknown, and Trivia Night. Tonight's topic is Into the Unknown, which is our segment on this show about all things horror. I'll be taking it away with our first tale, which I might add is our very own original story, written by yours truly and Nate here on the show. The Stairs in the Woods. Has anyone ever wondered where the stairs came from? What happens after the stairs disappear? Some people go up those stairs and meet God or the devil, or so they claim. Some people say it's a cult. Some say it's the Illuminati, while others never to return. I've always thought about camping in the woods, enjoying nature as peaceful as it can be. But sometimes something doesn't feel right. Especially when you hear about random stairs in the middle of an opening in a forest near you. Seeing a polished staircase, not a single speck of dust, nor any leaves covering it. I'm sure many have seen them or recorded them, but there's never any footage to be recovered. Is this the government hiding some dark secret from the public? My name is Felix Mortimer, and this is my story after walking up the stairs. The day is September 19th, 1995. The PlayStation had just released. I was excited to get one at the time. I was still using my original Game Boy from Nintendo. So I was excited to use a fully fledged console for the first time. However, I had just gotten off my shift at 7-Eleven, so for now I needed to head home and get some rest. I walked out the door as the rain fell. I heard the gentle pitter-patter of rain hitting the pavement, falling from the ceiling of the gas station. I got in my car and drove to my apartment, ready for Wednesday and Thursday off, since Tuesday was my Friday. When I arrive home, I park my car in the parking lot, then walk up the stairs to my apartment. I enter my apartment and lock the door behind me. I decided that I wanted to turn on my computer and go onto my favorite discussion website, just to relax for a little while before I go to bed. But then I see a post about something called Stairs in the Woods. Apparently there have been many sightings around the US, but strangely enough, there was one right in my area. I figured I'd go check it out. I remembered in an old dream from my childhood that I've seen these stairs before, and they looked very similar to the ones in the post. I thought it was nothing but an old dream, but many people have also seen the same thing as I did. I realized that my dream wasn't just a dream, but something more. Curiosity killed the cat, they say. Curiosity was tearing me up, knowing that those stairs are out there, that haunted me when I was younger. I got up and began heading to bed, while my mind was still racing with endless thoughts. Regardless, I still went to bed, to sleep it off, already having my decision set in stone. I was going to see those stairs no matter the cost. The next morning when I woke up, I got ready to go camping to search for them. Packed my bags and went to my car, backpack, sleeping bag, tent, putting each item in my trunk, one at a time, my mind still clouded with thoughts of those stairs, wondering how they could possibly be real. Nevertheless, I continued to pack. After I was done, I got in my car and set off to the woods to find the elusive stairs. Alright guys, that's where we'll be leaving this story so far. If you want to hear more of the story, we have a second chapter coming soon, so please consider subscribing or following depending on which platform you're on to keep up to date with all of our stories and episodes. Moving on, what were your guys' thoughts on the story?
Well, it's quite interesting. I mean, stairs in the middle of the woods.
Just
I don't-
hearing about the stairs in the woods is already seems ominous enough just to say that. And plus, who the hell would like to see some stairs in the woods?
I have to agree with that statement.
I'd have to agree too. I mean, stairs in the middle of the woods, then wanting to go see them, it's nothing I'd do.
It's a very interesting concept, and I have to say, if I saw stairs in the middle of the woods, out of pure curiosity, I think I would walk up them myself. But I might not return after I walk up them.
I would love to go see them as well, but come on, a Mexican going in the deep woods? Nah, I would probably run away, honestly.
I'm not going to say what I want to say because I'll get us canceled on our very first episode.
It's alright. Alright.
But let's just say the people who would catch you are rhyme with the word splice.
Yes, I would 100% agree with that. I would agree
Anyway.
with that.
Well, I could say a lot about my name with that.
Hey, yo.
I see what you did there. You're cheeky.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Anyways, take it away, Ice Knight, with our next story.
All right. I may say that I may be a little rusty reading this, but all right. The case I'll never forget. I still get chills whenever I think about that house. Honestly, part of me wonders if sharing this would help me finally sleep better, or maybe it'll just make it worse. Either way, I need to get it off my chest. Growing up, my brother and I had this weird fest. Okay, don't make fun of me, guys, but I have a bad time sounding out words. Eternal, could you help me out? Nate, could you help me out?
This weird fascination with old houses.
Thank
You
you.
know, you're welcome.
You know the ones with peeling wallpaper, dusty rooms, that stale smell that hits you the moment you walk in. We used to sneak into abandoned houses in the old part of town, just to see what was left behind. I swear those afternoons shaped the rest of our lives. We ended up going all in on this obsession, forming our own little paranormal investigation team, convinced that the ghosts weren't just TV gimmicks. I remember that night. The call that changed everything, just like it happened yesterday. It was the beginning of October, cold already. The kind where the wind literally howls outside, like a scene straight out of a horror movie. We were at the dining room table, with our usual setup, our laptops, case files, leftover pizza. That's when the phone rang. On the other end, there was a woman who sounded terrified. She kept talking about strange noises and moving objects in her house, on the edge of town. My heart started pounding, because something about her voice just, I don't know, it felt real. More real than anything we've dealt with before. Now, her old Victorian house wasn't exactly a secret. Locals talked about it. Supposedly it was haunted with all sorts of creepy legends. If you ever drove by it, you couldn't miss the sagging porch or the shutters rattling in the wind. We loaded up our gear into the van and headed over, half excited, half terrified. It was already dark by the time we got there. The place gave me that feeling. The feeling like the air was heavier. Like we were walking into something we couldn't just walk away. Thank you. My brother parked the van and ratted off what the homeowner, Evelyn, had told him on the phone. Objects moving, cold spots, whispers, the usual. He said, trying to sound unimpressed. But I could see that flicker of excitement in his eyes. I tried to keep my own voice steady as I checked my notes. She mentioned not sleeping for weeks. My gut twisted. I couldn't shake the sense we were missing something bigger than us. The wind nearly tore the sound of our knocked right off the door. When it finally opened, this frail, elderly woman stood there. You could see fear on her face. Her hands trembled as she thanked us for coming. And something about her eyes made me want to turn around and run back to the safety of the van. But we went in. Inside, the house felt off. The smell of old books clung to everything, mixed with something else I couldn't quite place.
Perhaps the smell of rotting corpses?
It could be. Maybe lavender, maybe something older.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is an old Victorian house.
Yep. Dust covered the furniture, like no one had touched it in decades. The ticking of a grandfather clock in the hallway was so loud in the silence it made me jump. We set our equipment up as she told us her story. Whispers in the night, things moving on their own. That awful feeling of being watched even when she was supposedly alone. We split up and started investigating. Temperature drops, weird shadows darting in the corners of our flashlights. It was like the house wanted to show us it was alive. Or something else entirely. In one cramped study, our recorder picked up a quiet whisper. So faint, I almost thought I imagined it. But when we played it back, it clearly said, "Leave."
I would. I'd leave.
That
I ain't
would
doing no
get me
Scooby-Doo
goosebumps.
shit up in here.
Nah, I definitely believe it.
Nah,
Same.
if I was in that moment, trust me, I would get chicken skin right then and there.
I think I would tell the lady, hey, by the way, you have something over there. I wouldn't go over there for a little bit, but I would definitely consider moving.
Yep.
I don't know how much you get for a month from the government or anything, but save some money up.
Yeah, I would leave in a heartbeat if I could, but if I was broke
exactly.
and I had nowhere else to go, I don't care. I'm sleeping outside.
Hey, if the rent's like $600 though for like a nice old Victorian house, I'll stay there.
Hey, as long as you can deal with them ghosts, sure, stay by.
Leave. Ooh. I quite like my rent right now.
I mean, I would love to, but man, these North Carolina prices over here are too damn high. I want whatever she has.
It sounds
That's
like
what
a
I
small
want.
town, so I mean,
Don't
it
worry,
might be better there.
just put the gaming setup in the haunted room.
I could do that. Yeah.
Bro, just start streaming and like the
Streaming and
paranormal
your whole
activity
setup
would make you
levitate.
famous.
At
No,
that
you
point, you're
start
just playing
streaming.
Phasmophobia in real life.
You start streaming and your whole setup levitates in your chair.
That's the equivalent of how you feel when you go God mode in a game for like a split second.
Just
Get like
about.
15 kills in like a span of a minute, and you're just like levitating.
Dude, if I see some weird ectoplasm somewhere in those walls, I don't even want to know what it is.
I think I'd pull out a squeegee and a bucket. Cause I like my walls clean, to be honest.
Yes, 100%. We'll clean. We'll take down those old wallpaper. Put brand
Hey,
new
bro,
ones
hey.
in, you know.
Nah, I ain't putting up new wallpaper. They're getting
Clean
ectoplasm
rug.
on the
Take out
walls.
the rug. Put
All right,
brand new
I'm gonna
rug.
continue the story.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm getting a little carried away.
Hey, I mean, this is supposed to be lasting an hour, and we're already on the second story, so
Nah, I get it. I know, it's just I read pretty fast.
fair enough, fair enough. Me too.
Alright. We asked Evelyn if anyone had died in the house, or if there'd been any other horrible thing that happened there. She insisted she didn't know anything. My brother reassured her. We'd reviewed everything. Then she came back with answers. She looked so relieved, but also not at the same time. Like she'd been living with this forever. Afterwards, we spent a few days hunched over the dining table, analyzing every piece of footage. We had temperature readings plummeting for no reason, EMF spikes, faint whispers. We couldn't explain. But here's the weird part. Every time Evelyn was supposed to be on camera, like if she was pointing at something moving, she just wasn't there in the footage. My brother and I tried to push it off as some weird camera angle, but I knew it was wrong. It made no sense. So naturally, of course, we went back. When we pulled up, the old house looked totally different. Fresh paint, no sagging porch, or broken shutters. We thought it was the wrong house, but the address was the same. I didn't want to, but my brother wanted to see it through. When we knocked, a younger woman answered, looking at us like we were trying to sell something. I asked for Evelyn, and that's when my entire world flipped upside down.
Oh?
She told us Evelyn died decades ago. She was her great aunt, the same woman we literally just spoke to a week earlier. My brother... Yeah, this is a plot twist. My brother and I must have looked like we were going insane. We tried to argue and said we'd just been there. But the new homeowner's expression shifted from annoyance to something sad, like she knew more than she was telling us. We left rattled. Back home, we double-checked the property's records, anything we could find. There it was, in plain black and white. And someone help me out with that one word.
Where?
obituary.
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 For Evelyn, from years ago. I swear my heart stopped for a second. Then I found an old photograph of the house in its prime. There she was, right in the middle of the picture, all along with everyone else, including the staff. The caption below listing the names of the people in the picture confirmed that it was her. Later I found another clipping. Her death wasn't natural. They didn't spell it out, but it was definitely tragic. We pored over the footage, again, searching for answers. The more we looked, the more apparent it became. Apparent it
Yeah.
became. Evelyn wasn't visible on any video. Not a shadow, not a silhouette, nothing. Anytime we thought we'd caught a glimpse, the frame would just distort, like she was there, but also not. We found that the same whisper again, leave, repeated over and over. Anyway, that's my story. Maybe I'm hoping someone reading this might have an explanation that'll finally make it easier to sleep at night. All I know is that if you ever find yourself drawn to an old house in the ghost of the past, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes the past is all too eager to talk back. That is an interesting story.
That is damn freaky, because if that ever happened to any of us, I don't think we would have even an
Burn the house
explanation
down.
for it.
No.
I have to agree.
At
I
that
don't care
point,
about the
burn-
new owner. Just burn it
Just
down.
drive one of them
Burn it
big
down.
old gas trucks over toward it and fucking blow it up.
Imagine
No.
if that lady goes on like a vacation or something, and Evelyn's spirit comes back and just slaughters a bunch of people and kills them all, right? That lady's gonna come back and be like, "What the fuck happened here?" And as the police show up, dun dun dun. Hello.
Then all the police hear is, "Hi, I'm Evelyn."
It's nice to meet you. Next thing they know,
But-
they're fucking dead.
Everyone did.
But the thing that really got me freaking out here, and I'm not really much one to freak out about, but you know, if Evelyn wasn't visible on any video, how come they couldn't tell in that moment, like from the very first beginning? That's what I'm wondering. You
That's
know,
a good question.
they're recording that, but they're like physically they can see her, but on the camera they can't.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, in a lot of folklore, you wouldn't be able to capture them, in any like sort of media, but you'd be able to see them. Right?
But my first thought would have been, you know, a handshake. Maybe, you know,
Right,
just
right.
see if she was physically real, like you can touch her, not like that, but you know, you can give her like a handshake or something. But
To be
you know,
fair,
that's
To be fair, I think she kind of sounded sweet and nice, just like kind of like an old sweet lady.
yeah,
But
just
the
with
the
that
story
weird
really makes you
vibe.
question if she actually was a sweet old lady, because she kind of just come in, did her thing, and then just disappeared. So it makes you question her morals, because like if there was something telling them to leave, it makes you wonder if it was Evelyn or part of Evelyn's family affiliated with her telling her to leave. Telling the crew to leave, which is really strange to me.
But if you think
Now-
about it, they said the EMF was spiking a lot, and that was because she was around.
True. That would make a
Right.
lot of sense. But where did the leave come from? That's my question.
And if it's multiple leaves,
Right. Over and over.
for me, it would be like, was the voice too hard to recognize that it was Evelyn's the entire time, or could it be that it was, as you said, could be the staff or her family member
Family.
that passed away? I mean, who the hell knows? It could have been a dog for all we know, you know. And
But
just
also,
like, leave.
as they said as well, it's like every time she would come on frame with it, they would think she come on frame. It would distort and make it so it was illegible, whatever.
At
so
that
maybe
point-
the leave is so distorted and like the tone is pitched up or pitched down or static. It's not able to tell who
Okay.
it is. Kind of like an anonymous interview,
And it does kind of make sense, as well as to point, just to point out, if you know this is happening, they get to see the old photographs, how it used to be, how she looked like. Especially, I'm actually kind of wondering how she died, because they did say that it was definitely tragic, but
They
it
didn't spell
wasn't
it out.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something must have gone down that
mean,
Something had.
no one
Maybe
knows.
maybe those guys could come back and try and reason with the new house owner and see if they can get like old family records to figure out how exactly she died. Because I would assume from the era she's from, Victorian era, pretty much everything is written
Well, I'm pretty
down
sure
in
in the
notes.
story it
or
did
diaries,
say
you know?
that she died tragic, and I'm pretty sure it said how she died, but they just didn't put it in.
Well, they said it was tragic and unnatural. They didn't spell it out.
But it does kind of make me wonder.
Later, I found
sometimes.
another clipping. Her death wasn't natural. They didn't spell it out, but it was definitely tragic. That does seem to imply that it was in there, but like they said, they didn't really spell out the way she, passed away.
Right, and it does kind of make sense at the same time. But what if they found the same whisper again? Leave, leave, leave.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
And I know sometimes ghosts love to tell, like to say those things. Leave. Maybe it wasn't telling the crew to leave, but it could have been her saying leave to whoever it was that maybe did the actual crime.
Do you think it was a murder?
I'm assuming so because if she has all the staff, it's not just her family, but the staff.
Hmm.
So,
But what if it was
and
an
if she's saying
inside murder?
leave,
Right. Which is what he means
Yeah.
by saying staff. Yeah,
I mean,
because
it
that would be
does-
like an inside job.
yeah, meaning that she died tragically, but it's making it cover up, making it seem like she died by poisoning. Maybe she died due to old age. Make it
I mean, when you think
seem
of tragic, you think like car crash or unexpected death, like falling down the stairs or falling off
Right.
a roof or something like that. That's tragic. That's unexpected. I
now.
don't really think of poison. I mean, it could be tragic, but I don't really think
Yeah.
that that's what they mean when they
Or
put it in the
it could have been
news.
or it could have been like torture. She could have been tortured over the years, slowly killing her in many different ways. I mean, you never
I can
know.
imagine an old lady like tied down to a chair being tortured. Tortured for what? Like she's an old lady. What does she have? What? A house?
She still has her life. She still has some children. She still has some descendants.
I mean,
Who the hell
if her
knows?
family got it in the end, why did the staff do it in the first place? If they were trying to get like ownership of something.
Maybe because they were bribed to. Maybe they said, "Hey, if you do this, I'll probably give you this as well." Or, "Hey, if you can help me out, I will give you this."
And
You
then
know,
she
no one
refused
would
and then
know.
got killed.
I mean, could have. Never know. Especially like nowadays, you don't fucking know what you're gonna get.
But you gotta remember, this was Victorian era, based on the house alone
Yeah,
and
that's
the
true.
staffing. I mean, she could have, perhaps in a civil war of some kind, she could have gotten killed by a raid that was false. Like,
Yeah,
they
that
suspected
could have
people
happened.
like in a different party living and residing in that house, and they come in and killed all the staff and her. But in reality, it was wrong. It was wrongdoing.
Right.
That could also be tragic.
Yeah, that also can be tragic, but at the end of the day, they didn't put it together, or it wasn't as important enough, or they couldn't, get all the clues to put it into what really happened. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'd be fucking scared to go back to that house, experiencing what I've already experienced.
True.
I don't know. It's like,
Um,
all right, no more investigating. I am staying here. I am living my life. I ain't dealing with no bullshit.
I want to have a kid, man.
Exactly. Live my life. Okay.
I still have, like 80 years in front of me.
If you do, that's the case.
Right. You have
Mhm.
like higher than usual lifespan. Because say you're
Yeah.
18, you'd be living to 98.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. You never know what you're gonna get, right? So.
Almost a centenarian. Centenary? You're a century old. Centenant. Blah 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 blah. You get the
Centurion?
point.
Yeah, I get the point. I'm just making you
You're
stutter more.
100 weird. Oh my god. 100 years old.
Sorry, we're stuttering a lot. We're just having fun at the same time. So
Right,
it
right.
just
That's the
comes
whole
out
point,
naturally.
though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, in Distractable, they stutter a lot. We're not exactly professionals.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
not
no professional. I gave a good tone when I read that.
Oh yeah,
no,
for
you
sure,
definitely
for sure.
did. 100%. I'll give you that. You pulled it off. I don't know what you did, but you pulled it
just got
off. And you
I
hit
just
a
got
home
that
run
voice.
with it.
He pulls
I
off
mean,
the
yeah.
storyteller voice. He's like, oh
just-
yes,
he just-
adjust tie.
Yeah,
Yes.
he just
I just got that
brought that
Brought out
out,
that narrator
and it just
voice.
came out naturally.
Oh yes, a just tie, a bitch to.
Okay, you know what? I may have stuttered a little bit, you motherfucker, but I still did it. I need help on words.
I
A
mean,
bitch
yeah.
to, a bitch to wear, whatever.
Hey,
Well, I was the same thing right there with him. So
I got.
hey,
I
fair
had
enough.
trouble on some
Uh,
words, but I did get most of them. I got silhouette and like
Hey,
shit like
right,
that.
and you did.
Unlike you
And
guys, I
you
didn't
know.
fail English class. I didn't take
Hey,
it
I
at
didn't
all.
even. I didn't
I
fail
failed
English.
English.
I did pretty good.
I got a 2 on a EOG, which was still
Oh.
good.
I took no
I
English
got that
classes.
-F.
Oh well, look at you. Yo lo tuve que tomarlo. I had to take it.
I got the
Come on, man, you ain't gonna.
I got the F minus.
Oh,
How do you get an F minus?
dude, I've gotten an F in Spanish back in high school, only
But
because
you're a native speaker.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know any of the accents at the time. So because of that, it threw me off, and my Spanish teacher, she's from Puerto Rico.
Oh.
So she's on me out of everybody else, she was on me. So
Hey,
she's
yo.
like, you not like that. She was telling me, you fuckers.
See, Bobby.
No, she was
See?
on. No.
Oh, you want the F
She
plus?
was on me saying you have
Si, señorita.
to.
Si, señorita.
What the fuck?
Man, fuck y'all.
Hey, don't worry. You know something? They had Spanish and French in my school, and I never took one of them. I barely knew English.
I failed Spanish
No.
class straight up. Like, my parents, when they took me out to homeschool me, they took me and said, hey, study this, do this test that they had already all written out from the creators and stuff, because they were putting me through actual curriculums, and I should have failed them. I tried to memorize the best I could, and I was just like, see, is that how you say that? What?
At all.
Hola? Hola? ¿Cómo estás? What?
Home.
No joke. When I first saw ¿Cómo estás? I thought it was ¿Cómo estás?
Home estás.
Mm-hmm.
See, senor.
I mean,
Why? I don't know.
For the majority of when it comes down to people learning new languages, oh yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Don't get me wrong.
sure.
It is
For
difficult.
It's fucking
It's difficult when
difficult.
you don't know.
You
But-
need years.
It's difficult when you barely know English.
Exactly. That is
Someone's,
true.
someone's trying to teach you Spanish and English, and you're just like,
Right?
what's that word mean? They're like, oh, this
Me
one?
every time.
This one means... No, they try and tell you, like, what a Spanish word means, and you're like, no, the English one. And they're like,
Pretty much me.
but I thought you
Yeah.
I thought you knew English, and you're like,
Yeah,
but you're like my
I have
language
it.
That's when I
teacher.
look at him and I'm like, I barely know what the hell you're talking about.
It's like I don't get paid enough for this, man.
What is
Let's
the
be
difference
honest.
between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse?
Oh,
The
don't get me
eclipse?
started.
Nah, now it's just called the eclipse. There's no difference now.
No different.
Yeah, no difference at this point, but eh.
Anyways, moving on. When first reading this story to review it for the podcast, I felt its writing was very well thought out, at least to me. For how small the creator was, or who I presume to be the creator, a redditor by the name of u/MistyDays on the r/NoSleep subreddit. Of course it's fictional, but to me, I think the characters felt very natural, as it was an actual person sharing their experience, which to me was very appealing. Next up, we have a story inspired by a D&D monster called The False Hydra. Written by me and Nate here on the show, largely inspired by the Toast Thieves video, which a link for that video will be left in the description, as well as my channel, Nate's channel, and Ice Snipe's channel down there as well, for those who are curious. Anyways, take it away, Nate, with The False Hydra.
To the person who finds this letter, please tell everyone about this story, even if they don't believe it. For as long as I live, I will never forget. My name is Rowan Shea Walker. I have been living in this small town outside of a huge forge called the Steel Smith. Sometimes people say when in the town as far away as it is, they can still hear the hammers hitting the anvils. Townspeople speak in riddles and rhymes, as well as hushed tones, for they fear that the false Hydra may hear. Now, back to the time when I first arrived. I was with a party of 3. Me, the bard, and the rogue. Even I do not remember their names. I only remember their faces. For the false Hydra tried to replace their traces with another party's faces. But I was unrelenting on remembering on who they were to bring my party's memory to justice. Now, you may hear the story of the party of 3. As the party of 3 are walking up an old road towards the town, one you would see in the iconic book, The Onceler. The road that leads to his house. Now, imagine crows and ravens on top of trees and circling above as if something had just recently died. There was no smell, no odor, nor scent. Nothing but old crows and heavy air. The road, as far as you can see, led to lights at the end of it, as if there was a small town filled with glee at the end. So our 3 travelers went up the dusty old trail, with the crows still screeching from above. Once they arrived at the town, there was an old sign out front, almost overgrown by leaves and vines. It read, Oak Haven. The adventurers enter the town. The 3 of us were thirsty and severely hungry after a long journey, so we all went to the nearest bar. On the way there, people spoke in hushed tones around us, wondering who the new people in town were. We asked the bartender for a round of food and ale. Whilst waiting, we hear what we thought to be the hammering of an anvil. The rogue looked outside to see if there was a blacksmith around, for at the time his chest plate was in desperate need to be repaired. Excited as he got up, bag of gold in hand, he looked outside in disappointment, for he saw no such blacksmith. Sitting back down, the sound of hammering went away as quickly as it arrived. Confused and curious we were, they asked the bartender as he brought the food to them. Hey, do you guys have a blacksmith in town? I thought I heard the hammering of an anvil. The bartender dropped the food. The sound of shattering glass and ceramic made the room go quiet. As he started to sweat and look like he saw a ghost, he stumbled over his words. He spoke, "The sound of hammering?" The rogue replied, "Yes, I thought I heard hammering." The bartender switched from his polite, quiet demeanor and started to scream wildly for the party to get out of his bar. Stammering and shaken as they were, they rushed out of their seats to leave as quickly as they could. But the bard forgot something. Something very important. A note from his sister from faraway lands. As we run out of the bar, we wonder if he's just crazy or if there's something much more going on here. After all, the party has seen many strange things, from stories of monstrous spiders to rumors and tales of a legendary dragon hoarding mountains of treasure. A thief's magnum opus, you can say. Hence the reason why the party is here. We were low on funds and about to run out. To continue our journey, we needed this job. The rogue stated, all hesitant at first, but eventually the party agreed, so we ventured forth into dangerous territory. While traversing through unknown territory and fighting monsters, some which were never mentioned in any tome, tale, book, nor scroll. Almost as if magically appearing out of nowhere. The sound of hammering on anvils, still in the far distance. The monsters cannot be described because they simply do not exist. Nothing but a mere conjuring from the false Hydra. However, during our treacherous journey, we did not know that yet. Now, where did we leave off in the town? Strand is still searching for food. The party of three find a small inn. They decide to go and get a room for themselves. While we went inside, I called the clerk to get our rooms for the night. Our party hears the chime of the bell on the door. As they look behind them and see another party. The party that came in has scars, cuts, bruises, and the like. We asked if they were okay, and they replied with, "What are you talking about?" The bard replied, "You have cuts, bruises, and even dents in your armor." Party looked at us if we were insane and scoffed at us, like we're trying to underevaluate their strength. Even the clerk looked at us with a glare and an unpleasant demeanor, with a tone to one of someone who had just a loved one. He handed us our key and said our room number, 260, second floor. We walked up the stairs and found our room. The door creaked open with an eerie tone emanating from within. Reluctantly, the party entered the room, putting their belongings down. The bard realizes that his sister's letter wasn't in his bag. The rogue and I feel a tug behind us as he looks into our belongings. We ask him, "What are you doing?" He is normally a calm and collected person, but his emotions were all over the place. He replies, "Where is it? What did you do with my letter?" The rogue replies with, "Jesus, man, calm down. What sister?" The bard, confused and angry at what he thinks to be his friends and fellow party members, looks at them with a dazed expression on his face and says, "My sister," as he struggles to remember her name and or face. He stutters and stumbles over his own words, saying, Her name is Jade? No, I think Lilac? Julie? I don't know." The rogue interjects into the bard's wild antics, saying, "Have you gone mad like everyone else in this damn town?" The bard replies saying he needs to step out for a moment to catch his breath, to never be seen by the party again. A while after he leaves the room, I got worried since the rogue was still visibly upset at the bard. So I insisted to go and calm down the situation. I left the room and wandered outside just to find that there was no lights, no fire in the fireplace, and especially no people around. I looked for the bar, confused as to know what was happening, while I walked around the town, eerie as it was, with the wind howling like a wolf. In the woods late at night on a full moon, I thought I heard a voice whisper to me clear as day. Even though it was quiet and rather overshadowed by the sound of the wind, it still somehow reached me. I turned around to look at the source of the sound just to see nothing. What I heard, or what I thought I heard, was, "Come here." After searching for quite some time, I heard a scream coming from the inn. Worried about the rope, I ran back as quickly as I could, running up those stairs as I got to our room, just to find the door left open. I approached carefully, opening the door with my sword drawn. I looked inside to see no one, and that the light had gone out, only illuminated by the moon. I lit the candle and searched for the rogue. I didn't find him alive. I found his body deformed beyond what you could think is possible for someone or something to do what I found him, as I found him, outside, hung by a noose on the sign of the inn. I wonder how I didn't see him before. Terrified as I was, I ran back inside and barricaded myself in a room as I tried to survive the night without sleeping nor even sitting down to rest my weary legs. I don't remember the rest of the night. All I know is that at some point, I passed out from exhaustion. I woke up the next morning with the sun shining in my face as I lay on the floor. I got up, removed the barricade from the door, then walked down the stairs to see if there was anyone there. As I did, I heard talking echoing through the hallway and stairwell. I rushed down to see the clerk in the same party from last night, doing perfectly fine. No scratches, no cuts, nor bruises, nor any dents in their armor. I almost freaked out. I asked the clerk, after gathering my thoughts, if he had seen the party I entered with. He simply replied with, "Who?" I walked away without saying another word, to take a look outside just to see the town as it was when we arrived. Or, I thought, when we arrived. At this point, I doubted if my memories were really mine, or if they ever existed.
Right?
What are
That's
everyone's?
another plot.
What are everyone's?
I think that's
thoughts?
another plot point
It's an
that.
interesting
Oh,
one.
sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
you're
Go on.
fine. You're fine. I was just saying, what's everyone's thoughts on this story?
I was just about to give my thoughts.
You're good.
Since you and I are writing the story, I think, the question of his memories actually being real are going to be a very big plot point in the future here. And I think we're going to cover it. Because I really want to lean into that factor of his party. So yeah, I think the story is very good. I know that may seem a little biased, but
I mean,
I really quite like it so far.
Yeah, definitely. Now, of course, as the story continues on later down in the future, I would like to say that if any of us were in this type of situation, like at all, I think at that point we will be wondering if we have gone insane, or
Oh, yeah, for
if
sure.
everything that as we see is actually there or not.
considering this isn't a D&D tale, I think it would be more of a normal thing, for your memories to be like jumbled and like fucked up by monsters and stuff, as well as weird happenings. Considering magic literally exists in that world, so I think it would be more of a normal thing. So I feel like our character Rowan would want to leave the area and try and figure out if he was, actually crazy, or if that place exists even. It's a very big question that I think you and I should tackle
Yes.
at some point, because I feel like a lot of people are really getting on board with the whole memory jumbling thing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially D&D fans who are like, oh, D&D based horror story, you say? And they're just like, they're like, want to hear it really badly, and I'm really glad that we're being able to give something to someone that we are writing ourselves,
Right.
to people who are actually going to enjoy it and really want to hear more. I think our opening was an absolute banger. Again, that's kind
A
of
little
biased
biased,
thing.
but let's be honest. I think we know that too. I mean, who wouldn't?
Well, let's be even more honest. Like, everyone we've given a snippet to has been like, dang, that writing though, the vibes.
And a lot of people have been asking for more. Unfortunately, we
Yeah.
really can't give that.
We literally don't have any more written.
But in the beginning of writing this, of course we did get that little snippet, and we have gotten so many reactions, especially in my workplace on where I work in.
Been
And
advertising it everywhere, bro.
I know, but especially in and I'll just say this, especially where I work at and the place that I work at, I know many people who love Dungeons and Dragons, folklore,
Yeah.
urban legends, and things of that nature just by itself. They read the snippet and they loved it. They absolutely loved it.
I can't actually confirm this. I know that I can't really confirm it to the audience out there, but I have been able to listen to the reaction since I've been on call with you a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah,
just
no,
storyboarding
definitely.
and writing and stuff like that. Like, I'm sitting there writing down ideas and stuff, and I'm pitching to you while you're at work, and you're like, it's not a bad idea.
Right.
But yeah, that's just to say that me and Nate have been working absolutely tirelessly on this podcast. We're very proud of it, and I'm really hoping that you all enjoy it.
I know they did all the work. I wasn't there. I wasn't there for it.
I hope that you can work on it more with us,
I
but
pitched
that
in.
is more of a matter to tackle when we start working on episode 2, because we're going to be tackling in the next episode, actually, good way to plug our next episode, is true mythos, like actual mythos from different ethnicities, like cultures and stuff.
Right.
Like Hispanic mythos, Indian mythos, German mythos, maybe even Canadian. They all have very interesting stories and very interesting creatures that I would love to talk about here on the show. We're going to reserve the next parts of our own written stories for episode 3, so we have a little bit more time to actually work on them.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to see everyone's reactions to our story here, because we've spent many hours on the story, and I'm sure that, we all can agree that this is something to be proud of.
Yes, definitely.
Even if we don't get like a ton of views, I feel like even in our own small little corner of the internet, it's something for us to be proud of.
Oh yeah,
For
definitely.
our own personal accomplishments,
And
not trying to self-glaze or anything.
right, no, and I understand that, and trust me, from one to another, like for us, we can say, hey, we got our own little story. Hey, we were able to do this. We were able to brainstorm. We were able to do everything that we could with
Right.
a little bit of inspiration. But we made it here, the first step, and hopefully that there is more steps to come from to go to, and from there on. But I also do want to mention, do want to say, I wonder what your guys' thoughts are, like for y'all, the audience. Just leave
Right,
it down in the comment section below. Just let us know, and maybe give us if there's something that you guys want to hear, whether it's like folklore, urban legends, horror, or anything that you guys want to suggest. We will be listening and reading, and we'll do what we can. No guarantees,
Every
but
single one of
you
your
know.
comments and suggestions are really
Oh
appreciated.
yeah,
I know some
definitely.
of you guys out there know us on a personal level,
Oh yeah,
but I
100%.
would like to ask you guys to request it via the comments because
Yes,
it supports our channel, it supports the video. Comments really help.
yes, they do.
They truly do, especially if YouTube recognizes that you're talking about the same topic that I've put the video under, which is podcasts, horror, and just general videos, not made for kids and stuff.
Right.
So when I put it under horror and podcast, you guys can say like keywords like podcast or that horror story was really good, or make a suggestion and be like, hey, this is a horror story I think you guys could use later on.
Right.
They really support the channel. Speaking of horror stories, do you guys think we could read another story? Because I did cut out one of them, and I
Right.
think I kind of want to read it because we've only been recording for an hour and 8 minutes, and I think I would like to read another story. It's a little bit
Sure.
longer since my time was really short with the stairs in the woods. I want to read another one if that was alright with everyone.
I don't mind. I'm alright with that. And real quick, just saying this out
Yeah,
there.
don't mind.
For those who do understand Spanish and are looking forward to, having something interjected in Spanish, or if you can't write it in English, hey, put it down in the comment section below. I'll be able to read it. I'll be able to read it, and if they can't understand it, I'll be able to translate it for them, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Si ustedes
We are
están,
a.
oh yeah, definitely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say we're a bilingual channel because of you being able to translate things
Right.
for us unilinguals. Sorry,
Right.
sorry, that was really
Pero-
offensive.
Right, I understand that. But
Yeah, I
para
don't-
los
I don't-
que están
I don't know any
escuchando
of it.
aquí acerca de este podcast, por favor dejen sus comentarios ahí abajo en la sección. También, como les digo, si ustedes quieren saber más acerca de esto, por favor déjanos saber. Y trataremos lo que podamos entre los tres de nosotros. Y si hay otras preguntas que ustedes tienen, déjenme saber, no hay problema. Y espero de que ustedes sigan escuchando esto y que les hable a los demás y que les deje saber a los demás. So that way it keeps expanding and growing. Just let everybody else know about it. It would be very grateful. I mean it, and I'm just saying this as as a person, as I would in real life. I would say
Right.
thank you, gracias por dejándoles saber a todos. Sinceramente, muchas gracias. Okay, so whenever you're ready,
Perfect.
you know,
I love
just,
that. If we could, I would like to have some captions for our English audience so they can understand what you were saying specifically. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
sure.
it's in the same nature of what you just said in English.
Yeah, it is. So,
But just so if they're curious, they can find out exactly what you're saying.
oh yeah, definitely, not a problem. So I was just saying that if you know what to put into the comment section down below, it would be really appreciated for that. If you can share it to anyone that you know personally who will love these type of stories, and or who just wants to listen to a podcast, that is wonderful as well. And I mean this sincerely, as a person to person, and I know I may be just talking behind a computer or so, but for those who personally know me and wants to know us as a person, as a human being, I would say sincerely thank you for listening and for just staying with us. And
Yeah, especially this far into the video.
oh yeah, definitely, and especially if when we continue to go, that you guys stay with us and see us grow, and to see us become a community for one to another and just have fun and
Yeah,
internet.
become a small community for
Oh yeah,
everyone
definitely.
to join in.
Claro que sí, of course. All right, but
Moving on,
yeah, go ahead. Let's go into your story.
this story is not written by us, and I actually did not take down the name of the user who wrote this. I am very sorry if you are watching, but it was on the r/no sleep subreddit. I found it. It was the very first story that I actually put onto our script and later cut out because I feared that we wouldn't have enough time. However, we can maybe go for an hour and a half if it takes you any longer, but I don't think it will be that. Anyways, enough yapping. My sister died 6 years ago, but I know how this sounds. Another fake ghost story, another desperate attempt for attention. But I promise you, if you were me, if you had to hear what I hear every single night, you wouldn't be so quick to call it fake. My sister, Emily, died in a car accident 6 years ago. She was 19, a freshman in college, full of life. Her laugh was loud, contagious. She was the kind person who walked into a room and made it feel warmer. I was 21 at the time, her big brother. I was supposed to protect her, but I failed. It happened on a Saturday night. The roads were wet from the storm earlier in the day. The air thick with mist. We were coming back from a party. She was drunk, but I was sober. I was the responsible one, until I wasn't. I wasn't speeding or anything like that. I wasn't under the influence either, but I made one small mistake. A stupid mistake that lasted for 4 seconds. I checked my phone, just a glance, a quick look to see who texted me. By the time I looked back up, the truck had already veered into our lane. The impact was instant. I remember the glass shattering, the metal bending, my head slamming into the steering wheel. I blacked out. When I woke up, everything was quiet. Too quiet for a car crash. The kind of quiet that lets you know something is terribly wrong. Emily wasn't moving. Her body was twisted at an impossible angle, her face covered in blood. I don't know if she died on impact or if she suffered. The paramedics said she was gone by the time they got there. I told the police I didn't remember what happened and they believed me because the truck driver had been drinking. The blame fell on him. Case closed. No one ever questioned it. But Emily knew. The calls started a week after the funeral. It was 3:15 a.m. when my phone rang. I was still half asleep, disoriented, but I answered anyway. Why did you let me die? Her voice was crystal clear. No static, no distortion, just her. I dropped the phone. That was the first time, but not the last. The calls kept coming every single night. Same time, same question. I stopped answering. But it didn't matter. She started leaving voicemails. Some were just silence. Others were breathing, slow, wet breathing, like someone was struggling to take their last breath. I changed my number, got a new phone, even moved to a different apartment, but it didn't stop. The nightmares, then came the nightmares. At first, they were just flashes, headlights, screaming, the taste of blood. But then they got worse. I started seeing it from her perspective. I'd feel the impact, hear my own screams. I'd feel the glass slicing through my skin and the weight of the car crushing me. But the worst part? The moment before everything goes black, the moment when she realizes she's going to die. A pure terror in her eyes every time I wake up, gasping for air. And every time the phone rings, the text message last night was different. I didn't wake up from a nightmare. I woke up because I couldn't breathe. It felt like something was pressing down on my chest, squeezing the air out of my lungs. I tried to sit up, but I couldn't move. When I looked at my phone, it buzzed. A text message. I look outside. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. But I did, after the weight lifted up off of my chest. And that's when I saw her, Emily, standing under the streetlight. Her head tilted at an unnatural angle. Her arms hung limply by her sides. Her body still dressed in the clothes she died in. blood-soaked jeans, a ripped hoodie. Her face was a mess of torn skin, shattered bone, and rage. But she was smiling. My phone rang. 3:15 a.m. I didn't answer. I just stared at her. And then she took a step forward. The truth, I don't know how long I was stood there, frozen watching her. But eventually my phone buzzed again. Another text. Time's up. The lights in the apartment flickered. The TV turned on by itself, playing static at full volume. My phone glitched, warping her last message into the words twisted into something new. I want you to see what I saw. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was sitting in my car the night of the accident. The truck was coming. I knew it was coming. I tried to move, to scream, to do anything, but I couldn't. This time, I wasn't in the driver's seat. I was in Emily's. I watched as I glanced down at my phone, as the headlights grew closer, as the impact ripped me apart from the inside out. And then, I woke up, back in my apartment. But something is different now. My phone isn't ringing at 3:15 anymore. Because I don't need the calls. I remember everything. I remember what she saw. And I think I finally understand what she wants. I don't think this is over. Not yet. When I first read that story, I thought it was kind of cheesy, but then I read further into it because the starting part sounds like every cheesy horror story you find on a Reddit subreddit. But I read further into it and I saw the writing that this guy was doing. I thought it was actually quite phenomenal. Honestly, it's quite disturbing if you think about it, because even if it sounds cheesy and like a traditional super scary fictional horror story, but if you really think about it, if you put yourself in the shoes of the character, I always do this when I'm writing. When I'm writing a story, especially like the Fall Hydra, I really put myself in the shoes of the character, and I tried to make the writing as best as I could. Nate was suggesting ideas, I was suggesting ideas, and I was putting myself in the world of the character. I think that's the best step I can do to make something unapologetically cheesy, if you want to call it that.
Alright.
So when I saw it, I thought it was cheesy at first. I was like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm gonna just skip it. But then I decided, whatever, screw it, I'll read it. So I read it. I don't regret it. You just heard it. It's not that bad. And I think if I was in the shoes of the character and I was getting haunted by my sister and she was doing that sort of shit to me, I'd be upset. But understandably so. I made the mistake. It was my fault. And sure, scary as all hell to be suffocated in my bedroom. But then again, pretty sure she's kind of malicious too. So I'm kind of teeter-tottering between, understanding the story and being scared of it, or just thinking she's doing it out of pure malice. But
Out of
what are you guys' thoughts?
Revenge. Man.
Is
Wow.
Joseph, are you there? I snipe?
He's
Okay.
here. He was just.
What are your thoughts on the story?
I am here. Thoughts? It's an interesting story. I mean, lots of things about it caught my eye.
Do you have any examples?
But I mean, parts of it just kind of made me
Twinge?
wonder a bit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if there's more.
I bet you I could find a second part of it, but probably not right now.
I believe you
Because
could.
I mean, they did leave it off on a cliffhanger, so I'd assume that if I went back and tried to find the guy, I bet I could find a
what
second
if, there isn't a second part and it just lets your imagination goes wild on
part. I mean,
what,
true.
exactly on what else does the sister have planned for him.
Right.
Maybe try to cause an accident, making it seem like, yeah, you looked at your phone, but this time I'm the one who's in control of your body, and
Right.
you can't do anything about it now.
a lot of writers have said that leaving things up to the viewer's imagination and interpretation can make the story so much scarier than anything you can describe, because to everyone,
Oh yeah,
it doesn't matter who you are. It could be you, me, Joe. It could be someone you talk to at the court. Or someone I talk to at
Hey,
Walmart. Huh?
I see what you did there.
What?
Or it
What
could
I
be
do?
like in the court, and I'm like, okay, so you're throwing shade at where I work at. Okay, I see how it is.
Sorry.
No, but you're fine. You're 100% correct on that.
I
And
can bleep it out if you want
no,
me
you're
to.
fine. Just leave it in. I don't care. I know some of the people that personally are gonna be listening to this. They know
Right.
who I am. They're just gonna be laughing about it. I know it. I know how their personality is. So that is fine by me. I don't mind. Don't
You
tell
go
me.
by Nate, so I'm not gonna refer to you as anything else.
You can just call me Nate. Yeah, that's fine. I don't
Exactly.
mind. Now, for those who personally know me, and I know you guys are listening and will be listening, especially that one person. Um, you can call me whenever I'm not recording. That is fine. You can use my personal name. But when it comes down to, hey, can I call you while you're doing this? No. I'm
No,
recording.
absolutely
I'm
not.
recording. I can't, okay? As much as I love y'all, I can't. But
Um,
but I do, if you don't mind, I do also want to interject something or inject
yes,
something. While you
yes.
were reading the story on,
Mm-hmm.
on how this person was immersing himself, maybe this was something that maybe he had actually gone through, you
It
know?
was on r/ no sleep. It was
And
fictional.
I kind of
Thankfully.
figured, but I mean, it could have happened to someone out there. Maybe not 100% as this, but to
Right.
an extent.
Sleep paralysis is a strong thing, man.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree to that. Imagining waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning at the witching hour, mind you,
Yeah.
and not being able to move your arms nor your legs. You can only breathe, and your eyes are telling you, "Hey, I'm awake." But he can't fucking move. All I could do is just move my eyes left and right, and then next thing you know, you just see a fucking dark figure on that side of the bed saying, "Hey, hell no."
Or right out your window, she's just like looking up at you on
Oh
like the
hell no!
second floor or
If you
something
can
underneath
see
this
if
on a
you can
street light.
see all that torn flesh just looking at you, it's like,
I
hey,
imagine her kind of as like that
hell
lady
no.
from
Who, the Grudge?
The Conjuring, I think. She has like the
Oh
big black hair like over her face
yeah,
and covering it. But
yeah,
except it's not covering her face. It's just like down to her sides, and she's kind of like looking up, like
dude.
it's like kind of
If
covering her face.
I had to see something like that, like her, the first thing in our folklore or our urban legends, like
Yeah.
from my side on my roots, would be La Llorona, the
Ooh.
weeping woman. That'd be
Yeah.
something where I don't want to ever see, especially
That's
her looking at me, and you're just like, oh fuck.
that's also something that we're definitely considering putting into episode 2, because it is definitely very terrifying to think about. Um, so yeah, you should probably be expecting
Oh,
her to
and
be in the second one.
yeah,
Perchance.
perchance.
It's under consideration.
And para todos mis latinos allá de Latinoamérica, especially those in Mexico, um, yeah, trust me, from one Mexican to another, hearing about these stories, and and for the people who have gone through it, mm, whether it's real or not, on who
I
has
mean, it is
actually, oh
folklore,
yeah,
so it
but
could have actually happened to someone at some point.
at some point, yeah, just seeing a random white or a random Hispanic lady in white, nightgown walking around
Yeah.
saying, "Ay, mis hijos, ¿dónde están mis hijos?" Like, where are my children? What happened to my children? Hell no. Like,
No.
I was just about to say, I don't
Nah, at
think
that
I
point,
would.
I'd be like, we're here to investigate, but you know what? Y'all can keep this. I'm fucking out.
No, it's like that one clip. It's like that one clip of the two cops going up to the graveyard to to investigate this.
You mean inspect?
I'm still recording, you fool.
Yeah,
Inspect.
but yeah, to like
Suspicious activity to the graveyard, and they hear a scream come from the graveyard, and they literally like crawl on their hands and knees like back to the car. I'll
no.
show the clip on screen for those who are curious.
Brother, that is one thing we Hispanics don't fuck with is horror. One thing
It
we
was two
do
white
is
cops.
well, still, but still, I'm just saying. What we
Not everything
Hispanics don't
revolves
fuck.
around you.
Hey, now most of do.
I'm just messing.
I know, but still, to whoever wrote this, original story, I would like to say, personally, it is one of the. It may sound a little cringy from one to another, but at the time of writing it, on how they wrote it and how they wanted to leave it at, it was phenomenal, 100%.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. What do you think, Joe? Yeah.
Oh, my arm!
Well,
I'd have to agree.
My arm.
well, is there any final thoughts that you guys would like to give?
If there's any final thoughts,
Yeah, like any ending statements, like end of podcast statements.
out of all the stories, and this is my question to y'all, out of all the stories, which story would you rather be in, from ranking from the
Ooh.
first to the last? So first meaning the best one that you would 100% be in, to
Mhm.
where the fuck I don't want to be at, to the third. So from the three stories that we have, which one do you guys?
4.
Oh well, four. You know what I meant. But
I know.
from 1 to 4 though, what do you guys would rank your best one that you will 100% would love to be in, and which one would you not, like your least one?
If I had to rate them, for my own personal liking,
Yeah.
also guys, if you could do a 1 to 10 rating on the ones we wrote, so we know how we're doing, that'd
Yeah,
also be nice. Because
definitely.
so we know if we're doing good, we should continue going on the path we're going.
And
So
if
we know that you guys enjoy the writing.
yeah, and if we're not there as you guys say, then we can still up a notch. We can still
Right.
fix it,
And
and
oh,
as a continuation as we go on, so that way we can know where exactly we should be headed. So
yeah, right. As well as they could put in some suggestions as
one
to
can
what we could
speak.
do to improve the story further down the line.
Right, 100%, and I fully agree to that too.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For me, from 1 to 4, I would have to say the one I'd most want to be in is the False Hydra, to be honest, because I would love dabbling in magic and stuff, and of course I can just leave the town wherever I want.
Well,
If I can beat the False Hydra.
either if you can beat the false Hydra or you can find the actual exits.
Right. Exactly.
If you
For my second one, it would be the case I'll never forget, the one about Evelyn and the Victorian house. That would be my second.
okay.
My third would have to be the stairs in the woods. Just avoid the stairs. Simple as that. I can just live my normal life. And then fourth, sister died 6 years ago. She's tormenting you. She's, right there at you. That's torment, and I do not want any part of that. That's my
Alright.
ratings.
What do you?
And I would have to rate the case I'll never forget as a 9 out of 10, and the sister died 6 years ago as a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Joe? What do you think?
Yeah, which story would you want to be in the most?
I have to think about it.
Yeah, go ahead, think about it.
Both are pretty good stories to go with.
Right.
But I'd need more time to think about it because both are very good.
Okay.
It makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't 100%.
So I can't really make a decision right now. I'd have to just say, to be honest, both.
Really?
To me,
So both of the ones that
Really?
we didn't write, or Stairs and False Hydra? Which one? Which ones are we talking about here?
talking about hold on, let me get back to my slide there.
Take
All
your
right.
time, man. You're good.
Take all the time you need.
So I think more like the stairs, and then, to be honest, more of the case I'll never forget.
So you'd want to be in those two the most out of the four.
I mean, I'd rather stick to the one I was reading about, and also the stairs one was kind of left at a big cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
I kind of want more of those.
Okay,
two.
well, to be honest, that was kind of the intention when we went into writing it, because we wanted to leave it off to see if people would like the story and be like, "Hey, we want more of this," before we put a whole bunch of effort into it, because it's an original IP type of thing. Because me and him completely wrote the story from the ground up with just a reference image and some stories we found online. Well, not even that. I think all we saw was videos about it, right?
No, actually, it was just the image of the stairs in the woods, and then
Really?
yeah, it was just only with the image. Cause let's see, I was thinking of things that I could think about was like, okay, well, if
Right.
you can reference something about something in the woods, like maybe Bigfoot, or and then it just came to me. I was like, stairs in the woods, you know. So
To me, a good story, I think, that should be in, I don't know when, but some story could be about the Shadowmen.
Actually, I do think that's really good. I really do want to do that. I was actually thinking about that. They're called shadow people, or
That's the first name
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
for
yeah.
Shadow people.
There's another name for them, and the Watchers. That's a really interesting
yeah,
story.
that's also a good one.
My mother actually has had a few encounters with the Watchers here in
Not
Maine.
only that, I have too.
So, we have a lot of personal experiences. I've had a encounter with one, not many, just one.
Well,
So
you
we
guys
could
have.
probably
I haven't, but
collect those stories from you, my mom, me, and put them onto the show with consent from the person who's giving the stories,
Right.
of course. To talk about it, because I really do want to talk about it, because I have a lot of opinions. Because I can firsthand, I know that to you guys, I'm nothing but a weird podcast guy, but to me, that is real. I do, in fact, believe that the Watchers are something that are real. When I was a kid, out back of my grandfather's trailer is where I saw it. But that's for another episode. That I'll get into that. Probably episode 2, to be honest.
Well, you guys have seen that. I haven't. I think the earliest memory I can think of something scary, like literally that scared my shit, or like scared my pants, you know. you
Shit your
know,
pants.
you know what I meant though.
Yeah,
But
right.
you know, but there is a old house I used to live in.
Oh.
I wouldn't say it was that old, maybe built in the 1960s, you know, just around that time. Nothing that old. We even looked into the property. Like, my parents told me that they looked into the property and they didn't find anything wrong with it. You know, everything was clean, whatnot. Well, and I'll just say this, you know, just add a little extra story in there at this point, just something small. Um, I've had an experience where it always happened around Halloween and only Halloween, no other days. It'll only be during the first 7 days, so the 21st of October all the way to the 28th of October. And yeah, no, those days, those nights, because at the time my parents went to go to work. My mother worked at a night shift, a third shift, from 1 in the morning till 1 p.m. So she didn't get off until like 1 in the afternoon. My dad would work from 6 p.m. all the way to 6 a.m. and then he'll have to go back to work at 3 p.m. and not even come back until maybe 3, 4 in the morning. So he'll be gone for a while, and I'm the only kid, mind you. At the time,
Right.
I was the only kid, the only
So
child.
you're there all by yourself.
Exactly.
Dang. Okay. Go on.
And we have 3 rooms. It's all one story house, but we had 3 rooms. And my uncle at the time, he had ended up leaving to go back to Mexico for a while due to his visa, and I wasn't gonna see him until the next couple of months. And at the time, I was only able to play the PlayStation 2, because that's the only game I had when Blockbuster was still around, for those who still remember it. But
Even though I'm Gen Z and I wasn't around when Blockbuster was around, I learned a lot about retro tech. So
oh, dude,
that's something that I probably have exclusive knowledge about from my generation, except for a few exceptions, like
right?
the guy who interrupted me twice. Anyways,
I'll interrupt
hey,
you.
shut up.
I did a third. But continuing on, I think the 21st was just small little knocks here and there. Just knocking on the door, on the front door. We had a side door. We had a door that went to the kitchen, like from the kitchen to the outside, on the side porch. And then I had a special one, which was from my parents' bedroom, that went out to the back of the porch.
Sexy time.
Hey, now. But their back door was into the back porch. We had neighbors, so I was able to run to my neighbor's door, which was about 10 minutes running down the hill. But
Dang.
we
Yes.
still had woods around our area, around my houses, or
So
around
that
the
was
house.
kind of creepy, I bet.
Oh yeah, especially at night, and
Especially at night. Yeah.
especially at night, and especially when you are 8 years old. Oh hell yeah, your imagination goes wild.
Dude, I remember being so scared of the dark back when I was like 8
Me
that my
too.
parents would send me out to the car to grab something from the car because
And
they're
you
like,
just
"Oh, I
run.
forgot my phone," or "Oh, I forgot this." I sprinted out there.
Yes,
I
100%.
grabbed the thing out of the car, slammed it, and ran back in. There was this one time when I was in the trailer park that with my parents before I met Joe here, that there was like rocks, like there was like a pile of rocks just laid out right
Yeah.
for your driveway. And I
Like
ran back inside, and since they shift a lot, I thought I heard something behind me, so I ran up, slammed into the door, turned around, looked, and nothing there, of course. But I was just like feeling like something was behind me, so I
Oh
got
yeah,
like super
no,
scared and started
100%.
crying.
And even I agree to that. Because sometimes you feel like you see a shadow or like a figure on the corner side of your eye, in your peripheral vision, and you feel, or you think you feel something right there, even though you can't really tell.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a lot of stories that I want to cover in the next episode because I
yeah,
have a lot of experiences firsthand. But please finish your story, and
Yep.
yeah,
And
we'll continue from there.
so the first day it was just only knockings on the door, and at being a 8-year-old me, I was curious, so I went over to the door, check on the windows. No one was there. I thought it was just my friends, like my neighborhood friends, just playing a prank on me.
Ooh, okay.
But the next day they said, "Hey, we're all gathering for a Halloween party. We're gonna be partying all for the 7 days, whatever." I didn't really care at the time, and they said, "Hey, we are not gonna be knocking on any doors, no anything. We're just gonna be focused on this party. So if you hear anything or you see anything, call the police or whatnot, because I don't know."
Yeah, because that's like the first bit of action that you should take when
Yeah.
you are young and you have a stranger at the door.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the first thing you should probably do,
unless it's someone that you
like a
know.
door-to-door salesman or something like that.
Right, or if it's someone that you know, then you're just like, "Hey, what's up?" But
Exactly.
during, I think, the last 3 days, because like during the first 4 days it was just knocking creaks here and there, and then I'm like, well, it's an old house. It would make sense that there would be creaks or slight knocks.
Of course.
But on the last 3 days, so the 25th, was when
Of
the 25th of October on that same year in 2008. I
Okay.
ended up getting a knock, but from the window side of my room.
Oh shit.
And
That's a tad creepy if you ask me.
it is. And the thing how the house is built, it is built on kind of like on a steep hill, but not fully. So it's kind of like on a slant. But
So like when you walk inside it's kind of like a little tilted, or did you have a foundation that compensated for that?
the foundation was well, the house itself was built on a slant on the land, so you had like a hill going up and going down, then you had a road going to the left and to the right that diverges. But my house was actually built in the middle of the hill, so it was like not on the top, but not on the bottom either. So I was just
Oh.
right in the middle,
So it's like right on
and
the side.
right on the side.
Okay.
And mind you, my window is at least from where the woods are, because it was right next to the wooden area into that small little forest, small little patch of forest. And my window is at least 5 to 6 feet tall. So
Oh.
whoever is knocking on my window has to be 5 to 6 feet tall just to get to the window. And to knock it, you need to be an extra couple of inches so you can actually knock on my window.
Exactly.
So when I heard a knock, and I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, it's just a damn door again, you know. But I heard the glass, and I'm like, where's this coming
That's not
from?
right.
And I just opened my. I turned off all the lights were off. Well, except for my room, I guess. But you know, I still look at the curtain and I see like a little shadow figure just walking back and forth, back and forth. And
Like he was pacing or
like
something?
he was pacing outside or
Oh.
something.
Oh. Ooh.
And
Okay.
as soon as the figure goes out of the window side, my dumbass decided to, oh, well, let me peek. I peeked, open the curtain a little bit just to see, and I just see a figure walking up on my porch. Luckily, he didn't see me because I
Of
had
course.
turned off the lights, and
Was the door locked?
the door was locked. I always lock the
Okay, good.
doors. I always lock the windows. That
Yeah.
was the first thing my parents taught me.
Exactly.
So,
You never leave the door unlocked
oh no,
ever.
no, no, no. And I heard the knob turning, 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 like trying to get in, trying to get in.
Yeah, like
It was slow at first, and then 5 minutes
mm.
later, it was like rattling, like 100%
Ooh.
rattling. And then
Ooh.
it just stopped. And I'm
Just out of nowhere?
waiting. And I was waiting for that, for, the footsteps to sound like they
Right.
were walking away. But I never heard a single
Mm.
footstep.
Oh.
So I didn't know if the person was still outside in front of my door or not. And I remember these days vividly because I still think about it even now. Maybe not
Yeah,
as
I
much,
bet. It's probably
but
a
I still,
traumatizing
yeah.
experience.
And then I just see someone just walking, and this time instead of walking, back to my window, they walked to my parents' window. I don't know how they managed to go from the front porch to my parents' side in less
Oh.
than 2 minutes. There's no way, because I would hear those leaves and sticks crunching,
Yeah.
especially when they're running. But I didn't hear anything.
That's creepy.
It is.
For sure. Very
And I
creepy.
just, I got under the covers and I hid under my bed. Under my bed. I never do that.
I'd probably do the same
But
thing,
I hid under my bed
honestly.
and just fell asleep. Woke up the next day and I hear my parents say, "Hey, did someone try to break in?" And I was like, "Well, they tried, but I locked the door, so they weren't able to." They're
Of
like,
course.
"Okay, well, if it ever happens again, just call 911 and just let them know." I was like, "Okay, sure." So the 26th of that same year, on the same month, October, that second night, I saw two shadows. Not just one, but two. So at this point,
So he brought his buddy along.
So at this point, I thought, you know what? They're really trying to break in, you know? So I called the police. I phoned them. Police came. It took about like half an hour. But before I could make that first call, I just see them both. They separate, but one's going to the back while one's going to the front.
Attempting to break in, still.
Well, that's what I thought. But instead of going to the porch, they ended up going to the kitchen window and knocked.
Oh.
They began knocking on the window. And I forgot to mention, this window is not just a small little window. This window is 6 panels long on the front side. And I only had
approximately
2
how much in feet?
In feet, I would say is
Alright, boys. I don't know how much recording session I have left because of my story.
I'm sorry, but I'll just say this much.
But this is a good...
Yeah, I understand, but I'll just say this much, and you know, for the next 2, I'll probably leave it until episode 2. But long story short, when I called the police, they said that they did find footprints, but they weren't able to find anyone breaking or entering because 1, they never had tools. 2, I don't know if they came prepared or if they knew that I was going to be alone the entire time. So for me, it kind of seemed like I was going to be kidnapped, and I was their rightful one to be kidnapped at the time. And then at
I'm
the
glad
time,
you didn't, though.
and at the time, I was into the dark web as well. I hacked my way into it somehow. Don't ask me how to do it now. I don't even know how anymore. I just know that I used to steal someone's bank card and took their money, gave it back to them, didn't spend it, and I ended up getting into the dark web. I accidentally revealed my location where I lived, so it kind of put the pieces
so that's why they showed
together.
up.
So that's what I thought, but then again, I was like, maybe it's not true, you know? But who knows? I will never
Of
get to
course.
know anymore because I'm still fucking here, so...
Right.
But,
Well, I think this is a good
yeah.
point to end the podcast.
Yep, definitely.
All right, universe. I think that's right about where we would like to end this episode off. Of course, if you want more, there's going to be more. In the very near future, the Fault Hider story we have put a lot of work into, and there's going to be more of it very soon. As well as The Stairs in the Woods, since both are written by us here at Podcast Chaos, me and Nate. If you want to listen to these stories specifically, you'll have to tune on in when we release the next episode. Probably episode 3 at this rate.
Yeah,
But we'll see. But there will definitely be more. If you want more, please let us know down in the comments. Doesn't matter, Spanish, English, please let us know. We take all suggestions in and we will consider them all. Remember, we read all of your comments, so please leave them.
100%.
We'll read and consider all of them.
Remember, guys. Remember.
Yes.
Remember what?
He's just saying yes. Remember,
I'm not talking to you, Eternal.
Bruh.
I'm talking to the
Well,
audience.
anyways, thanks to all of you for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And we will all see you here on Podcast Chaos in the next episode.
100%.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you all, guys.
All right. Have a wonderful night.
What a good session.
Yeah, an hour and 38 minutes.
I know. I had